Boom, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And if you're listening at Omni Studio, iTunes, and allthingscomedy.com. If you go to allthingscomedy.com, if you want to try listening there, we got a bunch of some of the best comics in the world, podcasting from there, different topics, different niches. And Burt Kreischer's is there, Bill Burr is there, just to name a few. And Tiger Belly's there, so check out On the Volley. I'm not On the Volley, that's the sponsor. Check out allthingscomedy.com. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, and leave some questions in the comments, and we'll respond to them. And I think we had a show a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, where we answered some of the audience questions in the comments. So that's always cool to hear from y'all. And, spread it around, tell people. And our sponsor is onthevolleyapparel.com. You can go there, get tanks, tees, hoodies, and sweatshirts. We also have our own t-shirts there. I'm going to put the link below and below it, when in the description box for the show on YouTube, or just go to onthevolleyapparel.com and put in Soccer Comic Rant. You'll see the 3 types of t-shirts. It's holiday season. If you want to get something, boom, let's make that happen. And right now we got Neil Chakravarty, Chelsea fan, stand-up comic from San Diego by way of India. What up, Neil?
How's it going?
I'm good. After watching Tuchel fail as a coach to beat Michael Carrick. As a coach, like how many games does Tuchel have under his belt as a coach, including youth teams and everything? And you couldn't beat a coach. Go ahead. How many?
He's got quite a lot. Yeah.
And he couldn't beat a coach in his second game as head coach. Ugh, disgusting.
He's actually, it's not just Carrick. Like the entire Ole and Carrick reign, we haven't beaten Manchester United in the league game.
I know we've actually done good at Stamford Bridge. For Man United to go to Stamford Bridge after being beaten like cowardly dogs by Liverpool and Man City, it was huge. And I feel like we should have won the game.
Come on.
Well, let me tell you why. And I don't think the penalty was a penalty. Not because it wasn't a penalty. Not because of, I think it was soft. Now, forget that. I think it wasn't a penalty because the corner that led to the penalty wasn't a corner. Right? So you got a corner. You were awarded a corner that wasn't your corner.
Are you sure the corner that from which you guys scored on the counter attack was a corner? Probably that wasn't too. You weren't looking at that one too, right?
So that wasn't a corner too, but
I don't know, but I'm saying like nobody's looking at that one.
No, but we looked at the corner that made sense. Like there was an offside call that we got away with.
Yeah.
If we got away with it, if that went in the back of the net, like I would understand your frustration and stuff like that. But that wasn't a penalty because it shouldn't have been a corner, because the corner before it shouldn't have been a corner. And one corner led directly to the other corner, which led to the penalty. So you guys are losers. Tuchel stinks.
Yeah, I mean, we got lucky in the end. Anytime you win or like get a point due to a penalty, you are lucky. But
sometimes.
No, I mean, you can't really, because it basically says that, we didn't score a goal. And I thought, I don't know, are we talking about the game right now?
We'll talk about it because we don't know if Martin's going to join, and we don't know if Lee is going to join. We can hear from him. So we might as well get into ours. It's the best. It's the
it's just us.
Yeah. So why even,
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a frustrating game from a Chelsea point of view, but was I really that surprised? I don't think I was. Like, if you had told me before the beginning of the season that, Chelsea had a game where they dominated possession, created a lot of chances, took a lot of shots, and didn't score a goal, I'd be like, oh, sounds about right. Like, oh, we conceded a goal. Somebody made a mistake. Who made a mistake? Jorginho. Oh, that sounds about right too.
Well,
So
who corrected their mistake under
uh,
pressure? Jorginho.
Jorginho, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's where he. In fact, it took a lot of character, not just because of the fact that he made a mistake during the game, but also he made a big mistake. He missed a big penalty earlier in the week
Right.
for Italy, and so credit to him for stepping up. Is
Non-qualifying Italy at that.
exactly, they might not play in the World Cup because of that, but credit to him for stepping up. But that sort of a mistake. It's just that he's such a technical player. Like he wants to always do it the
Fancy,
the
calm.
fancy finesse way,
Yeah.
and not just clear it out or like uh, head out the ball. So he took the touch. It was a bad touch, and credit to Sancho, he was there. I mean,
I think it was a good touch.
yeah,
Yo,
it was a good Jorginho 2-goal contributions in the game.
Yeah. XG is high.
The XG was very high.
But the way when Bruno, Fred headed that ball to Bruno Fernandes, which is kind of a dangerous like play to make because it was a back header while the area is swamped with Chelsea players, but Bruno just cleared that shit out. But the way that Sancho and Rashford took off, like first of all, up until that moment, I didn't realize like Sancho has been slow as speed-wise, like physically staying up, like pace-wise in the league. And then I was like, oh, he does have the pace. He is getting used to this league. Like the way they looked like they were shot out of a goddamn cannon. The way they zeroed in, locked in, and headed towards Jorginho like torpedoes. It is kind of a frightening thing to see coming at you. Two dudes in red, like at that pace, could rattle pretty much anybody, and it definitely rattled him. And
I mean, I think he had enough of a
yeah, if he headed it or kicked it
start,
yeah,
he could have done something over it. And the thing with Jorginho is you might have seen like the moment he missed it, he gave up because he knows he doesn't have the pace to catch up to most Premier League level forwards, let alone somebody like Jadon Sancho who has pace about him. So and I think Sancho and Rashford, I thought like not playing Ronaldo in a game like this was actually a mistake, but it didn't. It was a mistake that didn't hurt United because the whole point the forwards were literally playing for the counter attack, but there were literally no counter attacks throughout the game except for the one and a half. And but when the chance fell, Sancho did what had to be done. So I think that was a great. Rashford applied great pressure, but I thought Rashford was really poor in his positioning because he literally took an offside position and he took that pass out of the question. I don't know if Sancho saw it, but like he literally had to get his shot on because if he had passed, I think that would have been flagged offside.
It would have been offside. But he definitely used Rashford's as a decoy to throw.
Yeah, because Mendy doesn't know if Rashford's offside or not.
Right. It's too much pressure, too little time to figure that out. And I'm just so glad that he did not like pass that ball because it would have been offside 100%, and everybody would have been mad. The Man U fans would have been as mad as the English fans were when they missed the penalty in the World Cup, in the European Championship. But besides that, after the goal, I was surprised at Man United's reaction. Like after being under pressure, and like being like so many shots on goal in the first half, after we scored the goal, we reacted as if we went down a goal, and our players grew into confidence and kind of controlled the game way more than we did in the first half. Like you guys probably still, I didn't check all the stats, like still probably had. The game was just way more even after that point. And even towards the end of the game, we kind of went for it. And then we had our moments with Fred and Mendy making that huge ass mistake. But Fred had a good game, but there were moments when he could have won us the game. But it's just good to know that Sancho scored 2 goals in 2 games in a row, one in the
That should give
Champions
him some
League,
confidence. Yeah.
and he definitely has a confidence. And I don't think it was a mistake to not to play Ronaldo. I do think it was a mistake to bring him on.
As that person. No, I think the reason why I say it was a mistake was because the United's strategy in this game was just a one-tone strategy, and it's a pretty basic strategy. And it's a good strategy that you try and clear and defend as much as you can, and hope to get lucky on the break. I would have thought that if you're not going to get too many chances in a game like this, so you want the most clinical player, forward in world football, which is Cristiano Ronaldo on the pitch, because like this, what happened today, that Jorginho mistake, I don't think you can account for that from a strategy point of view. That was a very freak mistake. But if it was like a normal mistake, for example, like the one that Mendy made, you kind of want Ronaldo to be there to make use of. He's not going to miss a chance.
Was there, but Fred was goddamn there too.
Yeah, but my point is, like, you want Ronaldo to be getting, if it's just one chance or two chances you're going to get in the entire game, you want it to fall to Ronaldo than fall to Sancho or Rashford.
Well, there's I've been joking about like us beating, Carrick beating Tuchel.
Yeah.
And something you said reminded me of this point that I want to make. Like, we won. I mean, we tied, and but that's not the way Manchester United is supposed to play. I don't want to get carried away.
Yeah, if you play like that, you're not gonna get anywhere near the top 6 or 4. Right. But that's fine. This is just one game.
Just one game under interim manager who's now gonna give up the reins. Maybe not even Thursday. Carrick, I think, is going to coach against Arsenal. So so he's still going to be there. But and then so a lot of people are saying. So I'm just saying, this shouldn't be our normal style of play, but it was acceptable for this.
Yeah, I mean, Rangnick's not going to play like this.
Yeah, he's not going to play like this. And then a lot of, so let's get to the pundits. Tim Sherwood, like,
what are you saying?
He talks like how he coaches. He pundits like how he coaches. As a coach, he probably was very basic.
Yeah.
So his punditry is very basic. So him and some other people, they don't get why we have Rangnick and he's not full-time and it's only 6 months. And then they're confused somehow about then. So one of the things is, what if he does good? Are they going to sign him up? Yeah. And if they don't sign him up, he's Rangnick. He's organizing. He has this 2-year thing after the 6 months where he's going to organize our entire foundation of our team. That means he's going to be involved in selecting whoever's going to follow him as a coach. And he did this at Leipzig, where they wanted Nagelsmann. They couldn't get Nagelsmann that season. So he coached and then brought Nagelsmann in, and Leipzig was successful. So they're saying, for some reason, because they want to be confused or they want to be funny, and because it's Man United, it doesn't make sense, but it makes complete sense. There's nothing here not to get. And if you want to pretend on TV you don't get it, then fine. I'm more worried about if you don't really get it, because then you don't belong, ever should get a coaching job ever again. This is the way you're talking is like in the box thinking. Like Man United finally did. It's complicated, but they kind of really did the right thing. I don't know if you remember, like maybe a month ago when we was talking about coaching changes at Manchester United, and then you guys said who should be the coach, and my response was somebody German, somebody who coached. Remember that? You remember me saying that?
Yeah.
And this is exactly what the fuck we got, because I've been looking at videos about why German coaches are so good, and I talked about the revolution of the whole league and how it plays into the German national team and how long it takes to get a German license and the detail that's involved in it. It involves psychological work with players, not just like organizing the team, but knowing how to talk to players and deal with players and other things that are not included in a regular European license. It's also you have to spend more time, and it's also not based on how it's not based on how faithful a player was, a player was, and that wants to become a coach. It's the best coaches who actually come through the system actually
Yeah.
thrive in German football. So I'm like, that's where our coach should come from. And there's no coincidence that two of the best coaches in the world, or several of them, have German coaching licenses. So that's what we got. So I
And
don't know.
you guys didn't just get any German coach. You guys got the Godfather.
The Godfather, yeah.
He's literally, I mean, the modern German coaching, which I guess, if you look at the way, coaching in Europe is headed right now, when you say the term modern German coaching, you're kind of defining modern European coaching, because they've taken over. Like, that style of football has kind of taken over.
Mhm.
So and Ralph Rangnick is one of the earliest proponents of that style,
Mhm.
and you see Tuchel, Klopp, Hasenhuttl, Nagelsmann. They're all kind of branches of that same school. So.
Mhm.
And he's got a history of. I know he hasn't really coached a lot of late,
Right.
but he's got a good resume of coaching and working with teams, like Hoffenheim, Schalke, and getting them to a position and essentially outperforming what the resources that he had available with
Mhm.
him. So, and I think United really needed somebody like that, because when you look at United, one thing that the one clear problem with United is they play very outdated football. Like, this is not the kind of football that's going to get you anywhere close to a league title right now with the other, if you see the way the other teams are. But so I think people just have to criticize, like, for the sake of it.
Right.
They can't, or maybe it's like people can't believe. Yeah,
Souness
like
don't get it. Like,
I think people
you'll
can't
get it,
believe that.
Souness. You'll get it.
I think people can't believe that United finally did the right thing. maybe that's also then, like, just based on their track record.
Nah, people just
And
hate United.
so,
They say United.
but I think it's an amazing decision for now.
Mhm.
I think one couple of just to I think theoretically, from a concept point of view, and based on his track record and what United needs to, I think your target this season right now is to get back to top 4, right? So
Right.
I think for all of that, I think this is a great decision.
Mhm.
In terms of the flip side, like what might be an issue, if you look at Rangnick's record, he always favors like working with young teams, players who are young. He apparently at Offenham had a policy that he will not sign anybody over the age of 23, because he felt like he needed that style of player to really implement his pressing style of play.
Right.
And also, he didn't want players in their second or third contracts, which is
Mhm.
kind of a pretty interesting thing. So,
Mhm.
but at
But
United, he
was
will
that
be.
based on financial restraints of those teams? Because now he's dealing with a team that has more money than he's used to. Except
Yeah,
Leipzig had some money, but their policy is to
by young.
buy
Yeah.
young, create a player, and then sell. Like, they're not even interested in like winning a title. If it happens, it happens. But
Yeah, I mean, he never had to, like, he was never faced with a question like, hey, you have Ronaldo, Cavani on your team. What are you going to do about it? You have Pogba on your team. What are you going to do about it? So, um, I mean, here's the thing. I think Ronaldo would probably have a problem if Carrick told him something.
right.
But Rangnick has the CV and the
Right.
status in the footballing world that probably somebody like Ronaldo would has more chances of getting on board with it. And ultimately, it'll come down to results. He starts winning a few games, he's going to get the respect of the dressing room, respect of the senior most players, and it's going to fall in place. the question would be like, this is a 6-month thing. At the end of the season, he is going to go into a consultancy thing. Now, there are a couple of things here, like United have John Murtaugh, who's taking over as
can I answer that question?
Yeah.
John Murtaugh was behind this hiring. He was a part of this hiring. So if you think there's going to be a conflict, like of this guy knocking John Murtaugh out the way, John was like, yo, let's get this guy.
No, so here's the thing. If he's going to be hands off and like let him do his thing, that's great. But I just feel like there could be an issue of too many cooks, because that guy's there. I think you're already grooming Darren Fletcher for a similar kind of a role. And now Rangnick's going to be there. So they have to like do something to, you know, figure things out. Also, if you look at what Rangnick did at Leipzig, he handpicked Nagelsmann to be the coach, you know, while he's still the behind the scenes sporting director. He might come up with something, because all this while the names we've been suggesting for United's permanent manager job, like Pochettino, Zidane, Ten Hag, these guys are not, but like, you know, none of these guys are intuitively from Rangnick's style of play.
Ten Hag is.
I think Ten Hag is a little more, I don't think it's his style of play is as high energy as Rangnick's style is.
Right.
So, I mean, it could be, I'm just saying, you know, he might want somebody who's very left field. Now, will the United board be okay with something like that? Because he literally picked out Nagelsmann, who, you know, had a couple of years at Hoffenheim. Was this 32-year-old. He might have somebody who is legitimately the next big superstar coach in his mind. But when you look at him today, when he offers that name, probably not somebody who screams, you know, Manchester United manager. So will the board go along with such an idea?
We'll see.
Because he's coming in with a revolution.
Bring it.
So I completely agree, but will the United board agree with that?
We'll see. Hopefully they will, because the thing I liked about Oli was that he was turning into a manager before these last few months, where he could have won something and he was like homegrown, or we had like, you know, basically, you know, besides Cardiff and Mulder, like turning him into like that Pep guy that came out of Barcelona, and it's like, and now other people want to buy him, until Oli, but for certain reasons, he should have just studied football more, you know. I was worried earlier in the season when he's like, he doesn't take coaching practices, and he said it so nonchalantly, like that wasn't a big deal. That's a big deal, bro.
I think he heard Ferguson say it, because Ferguson, I think in his latter years, stopped taking practice.
But this is too early. It's your fetus years. You better take practice.
And you're not as deeply, you know, the team is not as well oiled as the team.
Yeah, this is a correlation between the results and you not taking practice, bro. You got to be down there. So that I don't like a guy. I don't like a coach that doesn't take practice. I'm not into that. Or a manager that doesn't take practice. So, and then just based on how David De Gea would talk after the Watford game, he's kind of pointing a lot of the blame towards Oli compared to how his interview praise was framed after this game. Like more detail, like we look like a team, we coached like a team. Like he's after the Watford game, he did everything he could to not say, hey man, Oli's fucking up. But I heard it. You know, you watch that interview, listen between the lines, you'll hear his disdain for Oli not participating fully. You have to be there. If you're not there, why would the players be there on the weekend?
I think De Gea is he is ready for that revolution that we talked about.
Oh yeah.
Because like even after this game, he was kind of like, he said something like, it felt dangerous the whole game. They
Yes.
missed so many big chances, and the one chance we had, we took it. So, it's a big point. I think he doesn't like the fact that he's getting absolutely pelted every game
Right.
in goals. So I think he's ready for change.
He saved us, like,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the game, like 2-3 times.
Yeah.
And
Hudson
what are you
Dijk,
guys going to do about Ziyech? Well, Ziyech had a decent game. Like, I rewatched the game. What are you going to do about Werner?
He needs to
Because
go back to the
it's
bench.
bad.
It's really bad. I was looking at some of his numbers, and he's currently averaging lesser than Michy Batshuayi and Morata in the Chelsea Premier League shirt.
Damn.
So, yeah, it's not looking good. I don't know if he'll ever turn out to be the goal scorer that we thought we bought. His best games at Chelsea have been when he's played off a striker and he's been the guy who stretches play and drags players around, has an assist or two. But I mean, you're getting into your prime right now. You should be doing more than that, especially with you're playing in a team that has so much of the ball. You have so many chances that you should be able to convert more. So I thought Tuchel missed a trick there. In terms of performance, I don't think there's much you can blame Tuchel for this game. But selection-wise, like, the thing that Werner likes is space in behind. You didn't need to be a rocket scientist to know that United this game were going to play for a draw and play a really low block. So you don't have space behind. Right. I remember, I don't know which broadcaster it was, but during the halftime analysis, they looked at the positions of the United players, and one of them said, like, Eric Bailly played left keeper. He was that deep. So, and it didn't surprise me. Like, any team in that position would do the same. But you should know, like, this is not the kind of game for Werner. Fine, you went with your gut. That's
but it was
the
ball dropped to him 2 or 3 times. Where you now do your job as a striker and put the ball in the back of the net, and
but that's not been his strength. His strength has been to run in behind and create chances for others.
Right. But you still should be able to put the ball in the back of the net. That's why they bought you from Germany.
I was thinking the net. I was discussing with some of my friends, and I came up with some XG stats.
Oh, you make them up yourself, or you?
No. I was compiling it from, like, how much we're behind XG, like the different forwards. But then the moment I said that, I realized it's kind of not expected and goal in the same sentence for Werner. Like, you can't be expecting goals, so there's no point of talking about XG when it comes to Werner.
Be like XM, expected misses.
Yeah,
you could do that.
He has a good conversion rate on that.
Right.
But my point is, like, you went through the entire first half. You could see that it wasn't really turning out to be a Werner game. You make the sub then. I don't know why it took so long. Lukaku didn't come on until the 82nd minute.
Right.
I knew he was not going to start. So
right.
I was expecting Pulisic to start, but yeah, like, we kind of like wasted like 8 minutes of Lukaku is not enough for a game like this. So
yeah, man. You guys stink. We came to Stamford Bridge, got a from you, and we made the title race more edgy. And like, now you guys have to feel like David De Gea all game for a few weeks, unless you get some distance, or it might be to the end of the season, because we went up there and took some goddamn points. So United.
I don't think we'll create a gap, because this what was this drop points United and Burnley is the exact flaw in Chelsea that I was worried about at the beginning of the season, that we don't have enough killers in attack. So, and I don't, Liverpool and City also have their own flaws, but we are kind of like having to work on something that is so critical to winning a league season, while in the process of, like we're having to learn on the job. Like these people already, these two teams.
Just put Reece James as forward. Stop bullshitting.
Yeah, I actually heard somebody who's seen a lot of Haley.
What up? I'm looking at the charts. I can't see it. Well. Mr. Southampton shows up. What's up, Lee? Southampton fan, living in England, stand-up comic. What up? What were you gonna say, Neil?
Saying, you mentioned Reece James. I heard somebody on say that some journalists say that they were at the England training, and there was some shooting practice going on, some finishing practice, and Reece was the best shooter, like the best finisher in the entire squad, and he included like all the forwards, strikers, all the forwards, all the strikers, including Harry Kane in it. So yeah, he might have to do that if Lukaku can't come good.
Yeah, even in this game, I saw him take shots with his right and left foot with I'm using my right foot now.
Yeah.
Like lack of confidence. Like he just whammed it. It went over. But I was like, Jesus Christ, like this motherfucker can use both, like without thinking about it. And we saw the game where he scored with both feet, like both evenly. Like you couldn't tell which foot. Like they talk about Mason Greenwood being able to use both feet. The touch of his feet, both feet, are pretty impressive. Like he's definitely got Luke Shaw's spot.
He played left wing back for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, so he wasn't on the left.
No, he played that.
He's a right. He confused me when I saw him over there.
Yeah, because Alonso was so poor. Alonso was Alonso. And then I think for the last 10 minutes.
Was it Alonso or is it because we did the thing where we tried to pin your wing backs back so that they couldn't come forward?
No, I mean, they were coming forward.
Reece got taken out the game for not coming forward.
No, like what happened was you kind of left Alonso to his wares and doubled down on Reece, because Alonso really was like, he was not linking up with Callum at all. And I mean, he's starting for a game after a while. So I don't know if it's just rustiness or, but I've seen Alonso do that. Like the nature of our play when there was Chilwell and Reece on both sides, that was just not to be seen in this game.
Oh, okay. So maybe if you switch one, you got to switch to the other, and just you know what I mean.
Have
like,
Aspi and Alonso.
You can't mix and match.
Oh my God, kill me now.
You can't mix and match. You got to wear a pair of socks and not two different feet.
Yeah.
But Lee, what did you think of Chelsea debacle against Manchester United, dropping points, not being able to beat Tuchel, a coach with years of experience in a Champions League, not being able to beat a children's coach from the Man United coaching academy, Carrick, in his second game, first game in the Premier League, second game as head coach of Manchester United, a fractured Man United. What do you think of Tuchel's terrible coaching performance?
I think you guys were slightly fortuitous to get the draw. Obviously, the goals the goals from a pretty bad mistake. De Gea's made some big saves. Chelsea have missed chances as well.
Can I just interrupt you? So, and that's a thing that's going on in football when people say, well, like the person had to make De Gea saved them. We pay him to do that. He's supposed to save. He's a few years ago, he was one of the best goalkeepers in the league because we paid him to do that. He's supposed to do that shit.
Yeah, but chances are, if your goalkeeper's one of your busiest people, you're not playing great.
No. I already said earlier that we got the point, but we're not supposed to play like this. And And I just want to make fun of the fact that Tuchel couldn't pull this victory off at home at Stamford Bridge. But listen, under Rangnick, if we played like this, if this was our style, nah. I was like, why did we fire anybody? So, continue. My bad.
But yeah, I mean, it was good spirit from United though, to what they, worked hard, took the chance when it was there, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much things change when Rangnick is picking the team, and like there's rumours that he was maybe involved in it already, but when he's actually working with the team, it'll be interesting to see exactly how it looks.
I have to show people the footage of Fletcher on the phone with me, like we're both wearing the same headsets.
Yeah.
Like we were actually communicating. I don't know if you know how far me and Fletcher go back, but he likes to WhatsApp me during the game.
Well, be careful what you say, Ian.
Well,
Dan Fletcher's gonna make some poo-poos in the pretty near future.
Well, listen. This is my proof, and I said it earlier. Lee, remember a few months ago or a month ago, you said, who would I want as Manchester United coach? And I said, somebody German. So look at the headset, look at Carrick's. Who is our coach? Rangnick, somebody German. So I'm just proving my point, bro.
Well, just don't ask Lokomotiv Moscow fans about him.
Why they're not fans of him right now, or they were before?
Most of them are extremely happy that he left their club.
Oh yeah,
and that was his last job. He wasn't manager though; he was like sporting director.
What were they?
A lot of people were talking about his Red Bull work. A lot of people not talking about his work in Moscow.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But what was the issue in Moscow? Do you know?
I just know that he didn't do a great job there. A lot of people were unhappy there. A lot of people are happy that he's gone. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But there's always multiple sides to those things, isn't there?
Right.
I don't know enough about it to know whether it was the setup of the football club that was an issue, or whether he just wasn't a good fit.
Well, we'll hope it wasn't a good fit, and that he'll do a great job with Man Utd. What do you think about the job? If you had to just like think ahead and be like, do you think it's a good fit for Man Utd? What do you think?
I don't think the squad suits his style, but that's the test for him as a coach as to whether he can get those players playing how he wants them to play. Be interesting to see whether he tries to use the 4-2-2-2, which is what we use at Southampton, because Hudson is obviously one of his proteges, as is almost any Bundesliga coach or former Bundesliga coach. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what system he uses, whether or not Ronaldo fits into that as well. Because obviously at the weekend he didn't play and didn't start, and there was rumours that was because of Rangnick, but that's not been confirmed.
There's a clip doing the rounds from, I don't know which year it is from. I think it's kind of like he's alluding to the Juventus buying Ronaldo. I might be wrong. It could also be about United buying Ronaldo, but he literally says that he wouldn't buy a player like Ronaldo. He wouldn't sign a player like Ronaldo. Like when he's talking about his style of building a team, which I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. Most coaches, if you think about it, would not want to go in for a 36-year-old striker, but he will have to make it work, because otherwise, even this last game, even though it was a great result for United, one of the things that hogged a lot of the talk post game was Ronaldo walking down the tunnel without speaking to the coaches. So this is going to be a sideshow. Like you guys, it's a great United. Ronaldo has gotten United a lot of points this season, but it's kind of like riding a tiger. You don't really know how to get down off it.
Not really, because I think something what Lee said made me think about, like, so a part of the reason Ronaldo's not good in a press is because we don't play a high line, right? And a part of the reason why we don't play a high line is because we have an unathletic, industrial-sized refrigerator in our back line. So a part of the reason, like, if you play a high line, there's less room to cover. So to get Ronaldo in the game, who would you rather play, Ronaldo or Maguire? I'd rather play Ronaldo and lose Maguire. But like, whenever we play Maguire, we never play a high line. We've played Baye and played a high line. You know what I mean? Now we have Baye and Varane. So the problem to, like, us never pressing, like you said, Lee, that we don't have the players to press. It could be because, like, of our slow, immobile back line. But if you press, there's less field to cover, even though it is intense and you have to burn a lot of energy. It'll make it's more beneficial to press with a Ronaldo if Maguire's out.
Mm.
And why would Rangnick have any allegiance to Maguire the way Solskjaer did?
I don't think it's fair to judge this United team on their abilities to press, though, because I don't think they've been coached to press effectively. Like,
true,
there were moments in the Chelsea game where you guys tried to press, and it looked really amateurish. Like, it looked like there was just no plan, and nothing really, like, it didn't amount to, like, I think very few presses even came off. And even when they came off,
some worked.
Some came
didn't.
off. Some came off, but like, what do you do once you've completed like the press? The whole point of pressing is for you to be able to have a sustained level of possession right after that. You're giving away the ball so quickly right after that. So I think a lot of, I mean, on paper, Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho, these guys have the athletic abilities, and ability on the ball to be able to hold an effective press. But that's not the team you are right now. So I think it's going to take some time.
Coaching.
It's going to take some time to, like, coach it into you guys. I think Tuchel kind of benefited. If Tuchel had come into the Chelsea team right after Maurizio Sarri, he would have had a tough time to, you see the really exponential upturn in fortunes. I don't think he would have been able to implement his style, because under Sarri we played a very laborious, monotonous, almost like a like an orchestra. Like, you're trying to get everything into order before you do one particular play. But under Lampard, we became more of an athletic pressing team. So I think Tuchel kind of benefited from that, from having a little bit of the work done there. I think Rangnick's going to have to start from scratch on that.
Right. Yeah, and then it's like somebody said something about Rangnick teaches you how to press. Is that to press, you don't, the way he taught it is like he teaches you don't have to follow a player to the bathroom.
Tuchel said that in his press conference this week. Yeah.
So it's like zonal, and if Ronaldo's willing to run a little bit more, it might not be even that much more. You know what I mean? And if the problem is not being able to play a high line at the back, then they'll make the adjustment to that. So I think we're more equipped than some people think, and that's good. That's what will surprise the league. I think we should be better though.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time on Chelsea dropping points. Lee, tell us about your experience of Liverpool, Southampton, and how you felt before the game, during the game, after the game, and what you thought of the game.
We gambled. Like, Hudson changed the system, tried to combat Liverpool by playing a different way for the first time this season. So we set up with three centre-backs, the wing-backs, which was Livramento and Perro, two centre midfielders, which was away with Ward-Prowse, and then 3 forwards. We played Armstrong, Adams, and Brozier as a front 3. So it was almost like a 5-2-3 or 4-3-4. 3-4-3 in possession, and it was, it was bold. It was an interesting choice, and
Have you ever played that before?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, we've switched to it in game before. Like when we played Man United, we switched to a back 5, but we didn't have 3 centre forwards. We didn't have 3 number 9s
strikers. Yeah, exactly.
And it was an interesting choice. It was bold. It's interesting to see how it panned out. But when you concede we conceded the quickest goal of the season when Jota scored. So when that happens, it hasn't worked. It was, I think 3-0 by half time. So
right.
It was just one of those. Hasenhüttl came out, to be fair, after the game, and he held his hands up and he said, I took a risk and it failed. That's on me, not the players. So one of those things. I guess sometimes if you're playing a game like that, you need to try something. Right. But like I said, it's a gamble. We took it and it didn't work. We could have played our normal system and lost as well. So I think Liverpool just, they're a tough team to handle at the best of times, but at the moment they're in form. So it's the sort of game where you really want to just keep it solid early on and just not give them anything. But when you can see after 1 minute, 2 minutes, then
What was your XG in that game? Because I felt like the score of the game and what I was watching, because it felt like early on you created a bunch of chances. So I was like, am I just imagining this shit? Or what was the real XG? I feel like it worked, but except for the execution of those chances. I feel like you won the ball.
As per Understat, it was 0.97.
So what does that mean? Break down.
Close to a goal.
Right.
1 goal. Yeah. I think that's what FPDF says to 1.0. And post-shot XG on FPDF says actually 1.4. So Alisson did a good job.
Yeah, we had a couple of chances.
Early, right?
I think there was a couple early and then 1 second half. But there was, I think Armstrong missed a good one, Adams as well, Brozier. They had, we had some, but I mean, Liverpool just ruthless right now.
Yeah, they're firing on all cylinders, and they scored that goal mad early. That had to be disheartening, especially when you have a new plan, and that kind of makes you doubt it. And then, excuse me, Liverpool just continued doing Liverpool type shit. And did Salah even score? So disrespectful when Salah doesn't even score.
I'm not sure. I think he got an assist.
Yeah, he got an assist. But
even Van Dijk scored. That was cold.
Yeah, I know. Van Dijk, he scored a midfielder's goal.
A volley off a corner.
Across, So just to stay on Liverpool has because we have midweek games, Liverpool has the Merseyside derby coming up tomorrow, right? And that's going to be crazy because he's facing a really wounded Everton squad. Liverpool, from what I know, besides the injuries that they got early in the season, they got their squad, and Everton is missing. I know Richarlison didn't play because this weekend, but I'm not sure he's there for midweek either. And what's his name? Their main forward hasn't been there for most of the season. Calvert-Lewin. I don't know why I'm blanking right now. Actually, I do. And so no Calvert-Lewin. I think Damari Gray is recovering from an injury. Played some of the game this week. If
Gray came off the bench.
Yeah, he came off the bench. Yeah, so he's coming back from an injury. and Rondon had some shots on goal this weekend. That's like, oh, okay. He's because he looked like off it. Like he looked in earlier Everton games like, oh, this guy's too old. He shouldn't have come back to this league. But he actually like did some things versus Brentwood like that were promising. But how bad would it be, even though Everton fans know about you can't, it's tough to win games without your main forward, much less your second leading scorer. What if Liverpool go to Everton and like trash them in front of that crowd? Like, what are Benitez's chances of surviving like an event like that, an embarrassing event, even though everybody knows like Arsenal didn't have their squad at the beginning of the season and they're better now with it? Will people be like, well, are they going to be like, fuck Benitez because of his Liverpool ties? Is it going to be like unbearable?
It's a strange one. Like, I think there's been a few games that would just add up that I think I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired if they got absolutely pumped by Liverpool. Because he actually started okay, but there's been some results like the home game against Watford was one for me where I looked at that and I was like, wow, like they were sort of in control of that game and then completely imploded and just handed it to Watford. What was it, 5-3 or something crazy?
Yeah.
In that one. So to go from leading at home to losing like that is pretty nuts. And then they've just been in terrible form. So yeah, I mean, if it happened, I wouldn't be overly surprised, but I think they'll give him a little bit more time.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, they don't have their full complement, and their full complement ain't that impressive anyway. It's fine, but you know, people are expecting. You just have to do something against Liverpool. So, go ahead.
If there's any way he can if he can win back the Everton fans, is by beating Liverpool.
Yeah.
This is always going to be the danger, though. Like with someone like Benitez coming back to Everton, things have to match the expectations or be above them for the fans to stay on board, because they're already making a huge sentimental, emotional compromise by having Benitez as manager of their club.
Right.
The only way you justify that is, the results on the pitch are good enough. Once that doesn't happen, and I think there's gonna be a lot of pressure from the fans to cut ties.
They've only got 1 point out of their last 5 games.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
That's firing form.
Yeah.
That's firing form in the best of days.
By tomorrow, it could be 1 point out of their last 6, plus a pummeling and goal difference. So, yeah,
where is the game? I haven't actually seen. Is it at Anfield?
It's at Everton.
Okay.
Oh boy. I would not want to be Benitez right now.
Can you call it?
He needs to get his family
into his suit for like the 5th time as caretaker.
Yeah, Benitez needs to move his family into a hotel or something. Like
safe house.
Yeah, safe house. They need a safe house right now.
Oh man. Yeah, it's not going to be good. I mean, yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll monitor that situation amongst all the other games. Let me look at my phone and see what else I wrote down about things to cover today. Boom. We did Liverpool, Southampton. We talked about Rangnick. We didn't talk about Man City and them handling their business versus
West Ham.
No.
In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow. Yeah, that game was like, the field looked like Obama's hair when he first got in office, and by halftime it looked like Obama's hair after he finished 8 years in the Oval Office. But then they cleaned it off at halftime, and then it looked like his first year out of office. His hair, like that's what the field looked like the drastic. So Lee, you're in England. How bad is the weather out there? Like the Burnley Tottenham game got canceled. Like what part of the country is Burnley, and does it really get that bad up there?
Burnley's like sort of a little bit further out from Manchester, a little bit further north.
Okay.
And yeah, it was bad there. I'm still amazed that a Premier League club didn't have either covers for the pitch or undersole heating, like one of the two. Surely you knew this weather was coming. It had been like it for a few days here, like that it was getting really cold. So yeah, that was strange to see a Premier League game called off like that. But yeah, it was mainly the northern games that were affected. Like Leicester got quite their sort of Midlands more, but that obviously looked pretty bad at points in the second half.
Yeah.
Against Watford. So yeah, it's been really cold. It was like an Arctic storm came in for a few days, and yeah, it was pretty bad. But it's like the temperatures jumped today. So
okay.
What's the rule? Like, at what point did they decide? Because at one point did they decide that you can't have the game? Is it something to do with the how strong the storm is?
No, it's they usually base it on obviously the pitch, whether the pitch is playable is one thing, and then it's also whether or not it's safe for fans to travel to the game.
Wow.
I feel like by the time they
that's too late to call it that.
Traveled by the time they call the game. Imagine if you're a fan and a coach of other fans, and you're like 20 minutes from the stadium, because fans get there early, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's not happening.
This is American fan, right, who became pretty popular on social media.
Spurs fan,
I think a Spurs fan, a couple from America. And so the game got cancelled, and they tweeted about it. And I think, Mickey Hazard first, offered, some good words. And then I think Harry Kane is offered to, calm them, a VIP visit.
Invite them to their next loss.
He's invited them to the first Man City home game when he joins.
Yeah. Seems like the Etihad is better.
Come fill up the Etihad.
Yeah.
Add to this. Come get these empty seats. There's plenty of them. But I was watching that game, the Man City game, and it was snowing. So then the ball was leaving like a trail of its travel in the snow. And I was like, if any team wants to beat Man City, just take pictures of the pass and the
patterns.
Like the marks that the ball left in the snow is the blueprint to beating Man City and blocking their passing lanes, because they always have players in certain zones at certain times, and they're always available to each other. So to me, it's like that's what you should be looking at, like an aerial view of the passing trail for Man City. But Man City played like not like a deadly, but West Ham is no joke. They beat Liverpool, and but Man City, I would say for the most part, like, let them know that they're a level above them. Like, pretty much just how they played. And it was only 2-1, but the entire half of West Ham was covered in players in blue, like flooded with players in blue.
Yeah, City were in control, regardless.
Yeah, 69% to 31%, 19 shots, 9 on target. Goals called off for offsides, like Mahrez is one, Bernardo Silva's one, and 90% pass accuracy. But Glenn Rice, man, like, I didn't rate him at first, but what he's been doing this year is really impressive.
I mean,
Like,
I think he's the closest to a sure shot. Like if you have to buy somebody in that part of the field, he's the closest you'll get to, a sure shot success for the next 5 to 6 years.
There's no way he's going for under. It's $100 million. He plays like $100 million or 100 million, whatever.
I just can't wrap my head around paying $100 million for a DM. But yeah, I guess that's where, if you really need a DM, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, what price does he play at for you? Like when you see him?
It'll be an expensive one because, I mean, one, I think there's not many top quality players available in that position.
Right.
And two, he's still quite young.
Yes.
And three, he's English, which means for some reason, good young English players, they just seem to get like an inflated transfer fee put on them as well. So,
I mean, he's Premier League proven, right? Like, this is the physical league. This is the league which has players having problems adapting to the pace and physicality of it. You don't have those problems with Declan Rice. So,
like, you could see him getting better. Like, you could see his capabilities increasing before
year after year,
very eyes. It's like, someone's get him now. Because if he does,
you can see it in the Euros as well. Like the Euros was almost like a showcase of just how mature he'd become and how much of a rounded player he'd become. The way he stepped up and was just a key player, because previously he'd sort of been like a, this and that player. But I think Henderson not being fit sort of gave him the platform to just nail that spot in the team and go like, this is what I can do.
I think the game specifically where he really caught my eye was against Italy in the finals. There was some things he was doing, like, I didn't know he could carry the ball like that and beat people and keep composure and hold on, especially in moments when we needed to hold on to the ball and Italy was applying pressure because they were down. And I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now. But yeah.
I don't know what his contract situation is as well, because I think
it's a stupid contract. Like that's the biggest mistake he's made in his career. He signed a 5-year contract with an extra year option. That option is with the club.
Yeah.
So I think
that's going to be a big fee then.
Yeah, like I think his contract is to 2024. And it's either 2024 and with that extra year 2025. So yeah, he's not getting out of there anytime soon.
You think West Ham will sell him? Do they need money, or are they good? Like, how is this going to go?
I mean, it depends on what the money is. Like, if you give them 120 million, everybody needs 120 million.
Depends on the player himself as well, though, because if the player says he wants to leave, then
he's been wanting to come to Chelsea for a while now. He's been meeting Terry, Drogba, like, wink, wink. And Terry's been posting pictures of, because he's a generational, like, going back a couple of generations, families all Chelsea fans. So, and he definitely wants to come back, but I don't think he's gonna come to us. I think he'll probably end up at United or Man City because of the money.
Right. Another game I want to talk about is Arsenal versus Newcastle. And Newcastle played today, so we can slide into that too. But the Arsenal, like, I saw like some fans being interviewed after the game talking about, we're just quietly going about your business. You're not quietly going about your business. We see you. We see you sneaking up the table, doing your thing. We saw you against Liverpool. There's nothing quiet going on. I think it's so funny. It's like how people get slightly cocky, after having no confidence in their team and their board and their coach, for weeks, and jump in the gun. And now they're like, like some of them people are still like, we'll see. Arsenal has broken my heart before, but we see you play us on Thursday, and we see you, and Ralph ain't going to be there because he's trying to get his papers together, his working papers together. So I'm sure Arsenal's trying their best to hold that process up. So we won't have Rangnick in there. They'll have to face Carrick. But
Yeah, I
Arsenal,
think they say Rangnick's first game will be Palace,
which will be. I'm not gonna put Palace is. There's no easy games anymore. There's just no easy games. But it's not Chelsea and it's not, Arsenal. But yeah. So Ramsdale did it again. Did you see that save?
Yeah, the one he tipped onto the bar.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a great save. Still think, that was the biggest chance that Newcastle had. Arsenal seemed fairly in control for the rest of the game, so it was just one particular moment. But yeah, it's a world-class save.
Yeah. Paul Willock, he's trying to you should have a you shouldn't have sold me game, but it didn't work out. You should have kept me game, but it just didn't work out. It hasn't worked out for most of the season so far at Newcastle. One thing Eddie Howe has done is put in John Joe Shelby in the center of the park, which is good for them. He had 3 or 4 shots on goal, including the one that Ramsdale saved, and just going off their loss to Arsenal, the game today, where the defender got the red card. What was that? 10 minutes in?
Yeah,
9
minutes.
yeah.
9 minutes.
9 minutes in, and then what would you have done? Either of you, would you have let him go and let the keeper?
Not in the 9th minute. That's a foul you make in the 81st minute. That's a 75th minute, 80th minute foul. That's not what you do in the 9th minute.
And you also know there's no Lascelles to come in after.
Yeah.
And your other option is the.
And there's VAR. They're gonna catch you on this thing. Sometimes I think a lot of these players right now still they've grown up with no VAR, so sometimes they still feel they can express outrage and be angry at a referee for making a call when they've clearly done something wrong. And
it's funny. It's funny. Players England is full of CCTV. It was one of the most of the YouTube footage I used to watch was British CCTV. So now
we are the most watched nation on the planet.
There you go. And it was crazy. I'm in America watching so much footage of everything. So they basically brought CCTV to the Premier League. And if you grow up there, you ain't gonna get away with shit. But whether you're playing or walking home from the game, you know what I'm saying? Big Brother is out there. And it's man, just let him go. Let the goalkeeper. Maybe the goalkeeper will pull up. Count. Maybe Pookie will panic. But but he fouled him.
In hindsight, though, just to play the devil's advocate, he did make the foul outside the penalty area, which means they didn't get a penalty, which allowed them the game to stay 0-0, and it stayed. Norwich didn't get a goal till very late on. So
Norwich was very tentative after they went up a man.
They just can't finish. They came into so many good positions, and I think Pookie had a couple of shots that he went wide. Josh Sargent,
he was warming up for the big one.
Yeah. He finally got the big one, but I think Josh Sargent came into a few good positions. He just didn't know what to do once he got there.
Josh Sargent looked like me yesterday. I played football yesterday after not playing for 5 years. And I looked exactly how Josh Sargent played, unsure, not knowing what to do with the ball comes to you. And I'm how are you a professional player looking like that, Josh? And you play, if you're getting paid to do this, what are you doing? Just calm down. But sometimes I'd see, and Brandon Williams is guilty of this, and Aarons, is it Aarons, the other back?
Max Aarons, yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't put the ball in when Norwich had people in the box and they have an extra man on. Just see what happens. They would cut back and pass it back around the other side, and then it's just put it in the box, bro.
Yeah.
You it's a lot of cutbacks and but Norwich scored. I mean, Newcastle scored first on that penalty from your boy Hill.
Yeah, I don't know why he was trying to. He's trying to clear out. Like, dude, you're the shortest player on the pitch. Why are you going up on the corner trying to clear the ball?
He tried to hand of God the ball out of the area.
Yeah. He's just trying to like get up there. And it's not happening. So he had his hand up to get leverage.
Yeah. And then what's his name? Was it Callum Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah, put it away and they went up
Just
1-0.
about.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, because the keeper got
Krul
both hands.
almost got it. Well, he got the hand onto the bar, but.
And Krul is a good penalty stopper.
Yeah.
Like he that's his thing. So, you know, even if he ain't gonna save him, he's gonna get close to him. Like he knows something. You know. And then, but you know, Norwich. So I know you guys want Newcastle to go down, and Eddie and that's Dean Smith in charge of like Norwich. Like he gets another point. Have they won under Dean Smith? I think they won one, and then
they beat us.
Yeah, they beat you guys. And this is what their third game with Dean Smith's third game with Norwich, or he got a point.
Only the second.
So what? Only the second. So he got 3 and 1, 3 points on 1 point. So, all right. So it was weird because I don't want Newcastle to go down, and I like Eddie Howe, and I like Dean Smith. So it's tough to like root one against the other. I know you guys want Newcastle to go down because it would be funny.
Newcastle's gonna go down. I was pretty upset with the like it was looking like 3 points. But yeah, it's just they're on 7 points now.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy that like Newcastle are bottom on 7 points. We're 16th on 14 points, so we have twice as many points. And we're only in 16th, and we have a game in hand as well on them.
Oh shit, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because you're playing Man. Who you playing this week?
We're playing Leicester.
Okay.
Tomorrow night, which is not an easy one, but at home it's something we could get something from. Right. Or we could lose 9-0. Who knows?
Hilarious. Flashbacks of that. Yeah, we'll see. Let me see what else is popping. And then the other game today, we discussed both games today.
No,
Palace Leeds was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Palace has this thing where they're playing really good. Today they didn't play as good as they normally play, and they'll have a lead, and then there's several Palace games I watched where the Arsenal game, the Brighton Hove game, and now this game where they had points and dropped them. In the other two games, they were ahead 1-0, and at the end of the game, the teams tied and they dropped 2 points. In this game, the game was tied, and Leeds was more like on the ball this game. So, if anybody was going to score a goal, it feels like it was them. They had 62%.
Palace had chances.
Yeah, they had their chances.
Benteke missed.
They only got like one on target though.
Yeah.
Benteke had a big header which went just wide of the post, and then there was his toe on the cross that Meslier just got back to get on the line, but.
Oh yeah. Everybody's shocked that Benteke missed that header, but I'm like, that's Benteke.
But he started to look like Villa Benteke recently.
Right.
The form Benteke, and then he's sort of gone back to being the Hudson Benteke.
yeah. Hudson Benteke. Hilarious. Yeah. But I guess, like, I think Crystal Palace is playing a completely different style of play than they are now. And they go for it. And maybe even towards the end of the game, they should have like started playing like old Crystal Palace to just preserve the point. But they were trying to win this game, like that's their mandate. But they've just dropped points at the end of, like, specifically, like sometimes on the last kick. So they have to grow and develop to like preserve points. So that's just my only thing about them. Like, Vieira wants to win, but it's also about survival. Not that they're in any danger right now, but the danger is if this continues by the end of the season, like, you don't want to be caught in some relegation zone that you didn't have to be in if you didn't like exercise some caution towards the end of the game. But overall, I think he's doing a good job right now. And I like how they play, and they're tough to play against. You guys got any Ballon d'Or thoughts?
I think it's one where there wasn't any like massive standout candidates, and people forget, like, people act like it's one person making a decision. It's not. It's a whole bunch of people, like hundreds of people voting, and it is what it is. A lot of people were like clamoring for Lewandowski. In my opinion, he's just battered in a bunch of goals for a team that's way better than everyone else. He hasn't won shit, so he just scored a bunch of goals for a team that was way better. So I didn't think he deserved it. I actually agreed with the Messi decision. He carried Argentina to a Copa America win. I watched a lot of the games in that tournament. He dragged the team like forward in those games. And even at Barca, I know Barca didn't win anything, but he was still
they won
shining.
Copa.
Oh yeah, but he was shining in a team there that was bad as well. Like this wasn't a good Barca team, but he was still putting up crazy numbers. Whereas Lewandowski at Bayern, like I say, it's all on a plate for him. Ridiculous goal scoring rate, but I don't think that's enough to win a Ballon d'Or. Just scoring a bunch of goals in the Bundesliga and Champions League without winning either of them. So I didn't think the rankings were too harsh. I thought Ronaldo's sixth was maybe a bit weird. I don't think he should have been that high. I don't think he's done that much. Like, he had an all right Euros for Portugal in the games he played, and at Juve did okay. But yeah, maybe Salah seventh was a bit of a weird one. But again, Liverpool didn't have a great year either. But a lot of these things, it's all opinions, isn't it? It's a popularity contest. It's not something that can really be defined objectively per se. So it's what you value personally and your personal opinion. My opinion was that Messi probably deserved it, but it wasn't like a runaway thing. Like, it could have gone to a number of people this time. If Kante had a better Euros with France, he might have been the guy to win. So yeah, who knows? But
I like how Messi was like, Lewandowski, you should have won it last year, because there was no Ballon d'Or last year. If there was, and Messi won it, he wouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I feel like there should have been a Ballon d'Or last year because those teams still played the games. So it didn't make sense to me. Like, everybody still played, just sort of because there were no fans in the stands.
No, because the French league got cancelled, and this is a French award. This is a French magazine's award. So they didn't. That's the problem with giving so much importance to an award that's being run by a magazine, and
no French player was going to win it anyway.
Maybe if a PSG player had a better shot. I mean, Messi is a PSG player now, so I'm sure this. I think.
So you think that had something to do with it?
Well, it is no. I think the biggest thing with these awards is like, anytime. That's why it's a little unfair, because anytime you put up these attackers who have big numbers and you put them against a bunch of other players, there is a lot of inherent attacker bias in these awards, right? So there's no way you can even say anything about what somebody else in a different part of the pitch did that is proportionate to what Messi or Lewandowski do as a goal scorer. So I mean, my choice was Kante because I think he did the toughest job of all of them. I know Lee's.
What team does he play for again?
No, but I know Lee talked about dragging Argentina to the Copa America, but I feel like Copa America it's a coin flip. The Argentina and Brazil are by far the two best teams in the competition.
But Messi hadn't won it before though, so throughout his whole career, Argentina hadn't won it.
I know, but he was underperforming in all those other seasons. And then they kind of like started having Copa America every year to somehow make sure that Messi wins one before he pops out. Like the amount of Copa America, like it's almost one every year. Like they keep having, oh, we need to have a new one now because it's been 100 years, and then let's have one more next year because it's been 25 or something like that.
It's hilarious.
But I feel what Conte did, like teams that are not favored to win the Champions League don't win Champions Leagues. It's just not something that has happened for the last 15 years.
But
usually one of the top 3 or 4 favorites win it. So,
but I felt like Chelsea could win anything except the final of the Champions League against Man City.
You weren't saying that nobody is saying at the beginning of the season.
Once Tuchel got there.
Nobody is saying that at the beginning of the season.
No, not at the beginning of the season, but once Tuchel got there.
I mean, this is a team, we hadn't won a knockout round of Champions League in 7 years.
To be honest, I wasn't even thinking about that.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Looking at your squad,
if you look at
who was your coach.
No, if you look at the squad, it's such a young squad, and a lot of new signings. You look at all the pundits, you look at all the bookmakers. Chelsea was nowhere in the top 8 of teams that are favored to win. I mean, even now, actually, we're not. There's a lot of these usual favorites
after
which are there.
Juventus, even now, 4-0.
Yeah, I'm talking about like at the beginning of the season. So I feel like, but I knew that the moment Modric won it in a year, because Ronaldo or Messi didn't touch any sort of trophy. I think the moment any of these attackers touch a trophy, come anywhere near it, they are gonna be. You kind of have to accept that they're gonna. The one I was pretty surprised at was Mendy not winning goalkeeper of the year, because Donnarumma won it, and he can't even make the PSG starting 11.
Yeah, but he won the Euros, so they're gonna give it to him based on if you give Messi because of the Copa, you got to give Donnarumma. Donnarumma won the.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's so skewed because he wasn't. It's
a bigger tournament, and it's every. What's the?
I don't think it's a tougher tournament to win. Like
no, but it's just a bigger tournament in stature. So it's like you're gonna give it to the Champions League guy who had to play Champions League every year, or the guy that wins that. You
give it to the guy that made a bigger difference to that team winning something.
Donnarumma saved those penalties.
He didn't even have to save those penalties.
That's not it.
Didn't Rashford hit the bar and somebody else skied it to row Z?
Yeah, but
I mean, it is what it is.
Right. I mean, why did they name him player of the tournament? The entire tournament. Because he didn't do anything. I mean, I was surprised he won player of the tournament either, too. But once he won player of the tournament, they're just gonna give him that. Like, I'm not even fighting. I think Mendy's fucking amazing, to be honest.
I think Mendy over the entire year. Like, it's not even a comparison. That's why I am not.
But did you watch any Italian
league
in Donnarumma to judge him?
Well, I didn't watch the championship every game too. I'm sure there's some good goalkeepers in the championship.
Did they win the Euros and get player of the Euros?
I love how heated people get over the Ballon d'Or stuff and all the awards as well, because ultimately, it's fucking meaningless.
Yeah, it's really. Like
I think that's true.
You think so?
The biggest awards are the trophies that your team wins. So
yeah,
I'm pretty happy if Chelsea keeps winning trophies and none of the individual awards.
Yeah, it has no effect on actual football whatsoever, and it's just an opinion contest or a popularity contest kind of thing.
But aren't most the gold medal at the Olympics in gymnastics is an opinion-based thing, kind of, and the opinion sways if one of the top competitors is doing it in his or her country. And then the Oscars, the same way, any music awards is the album of the year compared to, the other album that didn't get album, or the other albums that didn't get, it's these.
But there's been a change in that too. I think over the years, even the Oscars and the Grammys, they're not as big a deal as they used to be.
Yeah.
In the past.
I know they're big deals. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure players will, like, you know, if you ask a player what means more, winning a Champions League or winning a Ballon d'Or, I'm pretty sure I know what the answer will be.
Yeah, but some of them know they're never going to win a Ballon d'Or. A Ballon d'Or is even harder to win than a championship.
Yeah, but again, it's often opinion. So, yeah, I don't know.
You don't care?
Like I say, it means next to nothing to me. I would value championships and actual, you know, tangible shit more than a popularity contest.
All right. Is there anything that else we need to cover that we didn't talk about? Like Thursday is Man U versus Arsenal.
How are you feeling about that?
Better, but you know, Arsenal's, you know, playing pretty decent football, and it'd be cool if Rangnick was there. So
a couple of more Zoom sessions with Rangnick. He's probably, like, right now, as we are in the Zoom session, he's probably on a Zoom call too.
I hope so. They said it's illegal for him to do any type of work until the papers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, the papers have been signed, right?
Until the work permit papers. So they're saying he can't do any type of work until the work permit papers. And
are you saying it's illegal?
It's gone to like a government tribunal thing. He has to, like, go to a hearing to get it approved.
Right, and he's in England too.
That's fine, yeah. But is it really, like, are we saying that United can't employ any remote employees?
Yeah, they're saying that. They're saying he can't do any work in any capacity.
Yeah, it's illegal if he does.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, seeing some reports last year, I think it happened during the pandemic, that there's some Scottish clubs that actually hired some data analysts, like football analysts, out of India. So, I mean, these guys are helping the club on a daily basis. And I don't know, like, where the lines are drawn between what level of work the person is doing.
Were they in India, or did they come to America? Or did they do it like?
No. They were in India. They're helping, I think, was it Celtic or Rangers? Style? No, like, these guys were, like, you know, doing a lot of. They had built a good reputation off of Twitter, doing really good analysis and scouting of lower level leagues, and, you know, leagues that are not that much in the limelight. And some of these professional clubs actually took them up on it. So I'm just saying, I'm sure there's a precedent of football clubs employing people outside of.
I think a lot of those things, though, they're done where the people aren't actual employees. It's done as like a contract thing, like a freelance kind of thing. And I think there's ways of getting around that. Whereas I don't think you can really hire a manager. You mean like
a consultant, which is what Rangnick is supposed to be after these 6 months.
What did you think about that, Lee? Like, I was just talking about Tim Sherwood, who makes me roll my eyes, and I never roll my eyes. Say, I don't understand this. He's trying to mock it, and it's like, come on, Tim. What is there not to get? Also, Souness says he doesn't get it, and even Simon Jordan, who agrees, he said, listen, I agree with Souness a lot, but I don't understand what there is not to get about this. And everyone else who says they don't get this because they want to, like, stay along the mocking line of mocking United. To me, this is one of the most perfect scenarios out of probably 2 scenarios.
It's not even that. It's just like, I think Sherwood and Souness, they're just old school. They don't like anything foreign. They don't like anything like progressive. It's just like, oh, this ain't how it was in my day. Right. And Tim Sherwood's opinion means less than nothing to me on anything.
Exactly. So why is he working?
Because he played once.
There's so many other people that played. So many.
There is, but he doesn't do that much, like, good work. He's not on respected stuff a lot of the time. He just gets wheeled out occasionally.
No.
to
I
talk
see him
shit.
every week on that show that they talk about the Friday before the games. He's on it, like with like 3 other people. They're either sitting on the couch, and sometimes Ian Wright is there, and then or they're standing in front of the screen. It's 2 black guys and a woman, and then they're there. He's on the same show. I forgot the name of the show after the games, you know. And I'm like, he seems to be popping up a lot. Like, and I see these things like, you know, on YouTube where they just cut out the game footage because it's licensed. But I just feel like this guy's working at. He just pops up in my feed.
Yeah, he's the sort of person, like, you listen to him, he never gives any sort of detailed or rational analysis. It's all just
basic
stuff of the feeling kind of thing. Like, oh, I like this, I don't like this.
Right.
And like, just, yeah, in my day it wasn't like this, and what's all this new rubbish?
Right.
Yeah, I haven't got time for that crap. I disregard any opinion he has pretty much.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah,
but it pisses me
like I
off.
said, there's a lot of, like, English football has always been traditionally like, you have a manager and he does everything, and that worked for years. But then football moved on. You know, these are multi-million-pound complex organizations with so many layers to them. You can't have one dude trying to manage the team and also manage everything else around it. Like, you need someone in that role, and it needs to be joined up, where the guy doing recruitment and, you know, embedding a philosophy throughout the club, like through the academy, whatever, and everything else, like that all needs to be joined up, and you can't just have a manager doing it. So you need something like that. And what they need to do, though, is have a plan, stick to it. Like, if they sack, like, say Rangnick comes in, he's a caretaker, he picks your next manager, and then works with them as a consultant. If you sack all of them after like a year or 2 years and start again, then that's bad. Like, you need to kind of go with something and stick with it and build something that's consistent, rather than it being just, all change again every single time. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel like we'll at least get to the top 4. It's just we have players. Yeah, we got deficiency in some areas, but we have enough to finish top 4. So we just need the right coach to make that happen. So
I'm interested to see how it affects certain individuals as well. Like, what does Pogba look like under Rangnick? What does Fred look like under Rangnick? Like, will he get more out of these players? Will he get less out of these players?
I think Fred looks better under Rangnick than Pogba would look under Rangnick. You know, because Fred is willing to run and press.
Yeah.
And Fred has to, I think he holds up. What's the thing where they count like the distance traveled by your whole team?
Yeah, just distance traveled.
He's responsible for half the entire team distance traveled during any given game.
Yeah, just as long as he doesn't get around the box with the ball and
when the goalie gives him a free one. Yeah, exactly. So I think this will help Fred, because he just won't be pressing by himself, and he'll have somebody to pass to. And when he does have the ball, he won't be by himself. He'll have options, and he'll know which is, like, he'll have the blueprint. Look right, look left, look this, and your guy should be there. Like, we want a system where the buses show up on time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have people at the bus stop waiting, and it's like, it's an hour late. I gotta walk. You know? So and I was just thinking about something else, but it just left my mind. But I just think he might do better than Pogba. And I like Pogba. I love Pogba, but I'm willing to lose Pogba. But it would be amazing if he could thrive under the system. But I've already, based on how the season has gone for him, be like, yeah, it's fine if he leaves. You know, if you don't fit, you just don't fit. And that's before we had Rangnick, but now especially that we got him, I'm good with it.
That's something Rangnick has done every year where he's been there. Like the team is the highest priority. So he's not one to bow to individuals. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Couple of transfer windows, I think there.
Yeah. So we'll see. So anything else you guys feel we need to cover or teams we need to talk about? Liverpool plays Everton tomorrow. We talked about that. Chelsea versus Watford. What do you think of your chances against Watford after your great failure this weekend, Neil?
We should win, but again, it was. I mean, the reason why we didn't win against United could come back to haunt us against Watford too. I don't think United played in a particularly different way to what I'd expect Watford to play tomorrow. So the task ahead of us is still the same, that we got to make it count while we're ahead of the game and not make it a tight game. So hopefully Lukaku starts.
I think he'll start.
Yeah, and there's this slight side drama happening over Andreas Christensen, who hasn't been starting the last month. And there were some rumors about that having to do with his contract situation. He hasn't signed he's
you're going to lose your whole defense.
He's off contract. Both him and Rudiger are off contract this summer. And I think the Christensen one is kind of pissing off the board because they agreed on something twice, and then his representatives have gone ahead and changed their demands. So it was rumored, but today actually Tuchel came out and actually pretty much said that that is the reason. So which is pretty unprecedented, because he usually clubs try and keep that a speculation, like not really agree to that sort of speculation. So it'll be interesting to say.
I know, because it's messed up because you sold 2 defenders.
We sold 3.
Okay, I was thinking Tomori and Zuma. Who am I missing?
We sold Mark Gahey too, who is perfectly capable of being a Premier League level.
Is he doing good where he's at?
He's at Crystal Palace. He said he gave away a penalty today. It's probably not the best day to talk about him. But
he scored on the weekend, though.
He scored on the weekend, yeah.
Okay.
So he's been having a decent first season at the Premier League.
I wouldn't put him in there. I would.
My point is, like, the board kind of fluffed their lines when you let 3 players go. And you haven't signed two new contracts. So that's a lack of planning that can which is what is biting them back right now. So now they're playing this gambit of putting public pressure on Christensen, and let's see if it works.
I think their agents know that, and they're like,
they have Chelsea by the balls.
We're leveraging this. We're gonna get all this money. What are you gonna do? You gonna get another Rudiger? You're going to get another. You need these motherfuckers.
But here's the thing. I think they've kind of overplayed their hand. And because of Trevor Chalobah's rise, Tuchel has played Chalobah now a lot of these games, like last 3 or 4 games, and he's doing perfectly fine. He's doing everything that you would expect him to do at a good level. So
he's class.
I think that's something where Christensen kind of now has to think back to that. Oh, okay, maybe I'm not as indispensable as I thought I was.
But they still need him, though, because if you play 3 at the back and one gets injured, he still has some leverage.
They do need him, but I think things have kind of changed. It's been a roller coaster where 1 week or 1 month it looks like the club is more has the upper hand, then Christensen has the upper hand. I hope it gets resolved pretty quickly.
Just bad planning, man. I just can't. I'm so disappointed. And, but that's what I expect from a team that drops point to Man United at home against the interim coach, But, anything sticks out about any of you that we didn't speak about yet? Or was this it?
No, there was the, if you saw the government sort of review of football governance that came out. They talked about some stuff about different tests for potential new owners and stuff like that, and distribution of like wealth down through the football pyramid kind of thing and stuff like that. But I always find it weird with these things where, like, are they actually going to be able to implement any of this? Because you know what football's like, a lot of the time it's just, you know, everyone's out for their own interests. So anything that's potentially good for everyone normally doesn't happen.
Somebody was like proposing like a 10% tax on any player sold, right? That came up from the lower leagues, and that 10% of that money should go back down there. But somebody else made another point that, hey, if you do that, like, this league is thriving. People want in. And you don't want to do things to a league that'll make it less appetizing to people who want in. And those are the type of things that kind of slow a league down and make another league pass it. You know, like adding extra taxes. Like, enough money already goes down to the lower leagues. It's just like the distribution of it. And also, what are the lower league teams doing with this money? It's not the Premier League's fault if the funds are mismanaged, which some teams are going to definitely do. And you're going to give more money to people who mismanage money. They're just always going to mismanage it. So there's a chicken and an egg type of thing.
Actually, I want to shout out Joey, who sent me a link to this report on Instagram.
Joey Duda?
Joey Duda, yeah. So I haven't really read the report, but yeah, it seems like he's saying that, you know, the same thing that Lee said, that the rich clubs are probably gonna push back against it. But I guess there's some angle of the Super League causing the UK government to, you know, do something about this.
It's always like, the government are pretty toothless when it comes to football, though, because if there's too much government sort of interference in football, then FIFA kick off and they stop national teams from playing and things like that. When they consider the government to be too sort of involved. So it needs to be sort of an organic process that, you know, football decides itself that it's going to clean house or take care of those things. The government can make recommendations, but that's literally the extent of their power. They can't make anyone do anything. Otherwise, FIFA or UEFA step in and go, no, like, this isn't how it's meant to be, kind of thing. Which I think is more to do with countries where there's sort of dictatorships and shit, where they might have a real stranglehold over the football. But yeah, like, even stuff like this, the government won't be able to do much, really, apart from make recommendations for sort of best practice, and then it won't get followed through.
Would you say the Premier League is the best run league in the world?
Probably not. No. I'd say it's probably the best marketed, and it's probably the wealthiest.
What else do you need?
In terms of equity, I think, like, obviously in the Bundesliga they have the ownership rules, which they give something, but I think, like, Bayern kind of get around that.
But that's more of a club thing, right? Isn't that more of a club specific thing, or is that something that's mandated by the league?
No, it's mandated.
Okay.
It's also mandated that Bayern wins 9 out of 10 championships.
The thing is, within, like, because obviously there's like the whole 50+1 thing. But at Bayern, like, you know, Bayern are part owned by
Adidas,
the Volkswagen Audi group. They're part owned by Adidas. They're part owned by Allianz. They have a lot of money coming into these things. They have a portion of fan ownership, but also a pretty big fucking portion of corporate ownership that are pumping money in. So, and obviously, you know, Red Bull found a way around it as well. So, I think it's, in principle, I think it's a good rule, but obviously, you know, people with the mega bucks find a way. Whereas English football is more of just a fucking capitalist free for all with no rules whatsoever, pretty much, as the Newcastle thing is showing, and obviously previous clubs. So yeah, it's up to everyone else to keep up, isn't it?
Right. But you could still survive in the Premier League because of the amount of money that you get. And it's just like, if you buy right, you know, if you buy right, you shouldn't go down. And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, some people are doing it something, but be as efficient as possible with your hiring of managers and the buying of players and coaching, and just spend the money in the right places, and you should be good.
I mean, look at Leicester, right? Like it wasn't that far ago that Leicester was in the championship, and now we don't even talk about Leicester anywhere near the relegation fight season after season after season. So, they've managed to, with smart decision making, they've managed to keep themselves. They've won stuff in the process, but they've managed to get big money out of low investment players.
Like Maguire,
Mahrez,
Kante,
Chilwell. Yeah.
Drinkwater.
Drinkwater. Oh my God. Drinkwater, by the way, scored a goal and then had an assist for Reading versus Swansea over the weekend.
Damn, you've been paying attention to Drinkwater. Jesus Christ.
Okay, that is purely a financial thing. Like, I want somebody to take him off our books. So if he can do well, yeah, he's not hitting on other footballers' girlfriends.
You're winning everywhere. Just take an L. Everything perfect. Even perfect structures have flaws that make them perfect. Just take it, bro.
Yeah.
Take the Chilwell. Who is it again? I'm sorry.
Drinkwater.
Take the Drinkwater loss.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the clubs like Leicester have shown, how you can be a financially prosperous team and keep doing well on and off the pitch.
Yeah, because now, didn't it used to be one sponsor in the Premier League?
Yeah.
A while ago, they've had shirt the sleeve sponsors have been there for a few seasons now.
For a few seasons. So, like, money gets added. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you saw, I think Neil saw it, like Chris D'Elia. And Chris texted me.
Oh, yeah.
Before. He's like, what the fuck? Like, what are teams doing with, like, the sponsor on the shirt? And if you buy a shirt, then it has a sponsor. So he's joking around about it, but I didn't know he was going to, like, make a post about it. But, yeah, it's like, yeah, there's ways to get money.
If you see some teams in like Scandinavia, they have like 20 sponsors on their shirts.
Yeah, they look like a race car, a human race car. Yeah.
Yeah, they have like 3 sponsors on the shorts.
Cricket's kind of going that way. Cricket's not at the international level, but at the franchise club level, it's kind of going that way, where you have like and cricket has a lot of gear, like helmets, and there's like all sorts of, you can't like go past a part of the body without seeing a sponsor.
Hilarious. Like Latin American soccer has a lot of sponsors too. They'll have Pepsi and Coke on the same shirt. Like, how is that even possible?
It's like that builder, that buys a huge tract of land and then divides it up and sells it at a profit to various people. So where you got to do sometimes these things. I think I really like the way Premier League has gone about it though, because back in the day it used to be the Barclays Premier League, right? And then they made a business call to keep it clean, to keep the title clean, and not have it have it given a sponsor's name.
That's cool.
So,
yeah. I mean, that was a smart move by Barkley to get that added to it, because that gave them like years of like props and advertising, which they paid for. But yeah, international marketing right there. So guys, thanks for coming in, doing another great job, fun podcast, especially after getting some points again at Stamford Bridge. Tuchel out. And we'll see what happens midweek. And maybe we'll do another podcast this week. We'll see. On Thursday or something. We'll figure it out. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks for coming. One love, everybody
Thanks,
listening,
guys.
watching. Be good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
One. Yeah. Tell us when you're ready to take that pick, Neil.
Yeah. All right. 2, 3, 1. Got it. Thanks.
I need to figure out time differences. I'll be doing this from New York next week.
Oh, cool.
So what? I missed it.
I said I'll be in New York next Tuesday, so I need to figure out the time difference for when I'm there.
Just
what time I need to log on.
1:30 p.m.
No, they'd be ahead. 7:30.
They'd be at 7:30. My bad. Yeah. I'm so used to you being behind. I'm like, oh, you're ahead anyway. Yeah. My bad. I'm bad at zone math.
Yeah. The week after I won't be able to do it because my flight home is at 7:30 p.m. the Tuesday after.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be at JFK at that point.
Do it from the airport.
Get Wi-Fi on the plane. I'll just be sitting in a plane seat recording the podcast.
Just be like Martin, like from a basketball.
Yeah, he did it from a basketball game. What's your dedication, bro?
If I could get Wi-Fi on the plane, that would be pretty cool though. Recording on a plane, just pissing off the people in the seats around me.
Yeah.
I'll just turn the phone around and be like, "So, sir, what do you think?"
I hope you get a middle seat. So you're like, turn. Like, there'll be some English people on the flight. Aaron, we wanted to ask you a question. So I don't know if you can hear us. I don't know if you can.
That's probably not.
I'll have to ask him via text.
Yeah.
Let's go see if we can try to move the podcast to Monday if there's any open spots.
Thinking of Mondays and Thursdays, Lee. So that there's a little bit of gap.
And just to, yeah.
Yeah, then like Monday you can cover the weekend stuff. Thursdays you can cover Champions League and things usually.
Because it feels like the 1 day gap, like everybody's talked about everything, is like just need to be on top of it more.
Yeah.
But I'll ask him if there's any space for Monday. We'll see. But, well, all right, guys. Thanks for doing it again, and I'll see you all.
All right.
Yeah.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Catch you later.